How was NFDA for you?
Very busy. It's probably one of the busier ones ever.
Yeah. I didn't even make it back to your booth. It was just like, I mean, I agree. It was just a super busy conference, a lot of people to talk to, a lot going on. And I mean, I barely made it past our booth. Where was your booth at? I don't even know. I didn't even make it.
All the way towards same aisle, but all the way towards the end.
Okay.
Yeah, we're pretty busy, so I didn't get to walk around too until the last hour on that last day. We started wandering around. Yeah, it's so hard. Yeah, it's good. I'm not complaining. It's awesome. Yeah, wish ICCF would be this busy.
Yeah. Do you still get like I mean, a lot of, did you have the bow and arrow thing going again with the target?
Yeah, we still kept the theme just so that way. Yeah, it's every time we're like, we should change it out, but folks love it. They come by.
Yeah.
So
people like it. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So like every year it's like, okay, let's change it. But I'm like, okay, if it's working, then yeah, that's probably not touch it for a while.
Yeah. No, I get that. What did you find in terms of what was like your best meal you had out there?
We went to we took clients out to there's two restaurants. One is Ever. It's called Ever. We actually took Stouffer there. I think last time we were in Chicago.
Okay.
That is still one of the best because it's so quiet. Like so many restaurants like very loud, and that easily it's like a 3-hour meal, so you can talk a lot, like to get to know somebody very well. So that's always my default place to go to. Is just Ever. Yeah.
Ever. I've never been there. I'll have to look that up. And what kind of food is it?
It's one of those French-ish or California like long course prefix menu.
That's your style, right?
Yeah, I love it. It's just it's long. It's surprising, and you get to have like very long, decent meal just talking. It doesn't get awkward too because every 10 minutes we bring out a new dish, so it's like okay, it keeps the excitement going.
It keeps it moving. Was there anything new that you guys were like showing off at NFDA?
No, not this time. Yeah, because we have so many a la carte services that we just never ever really let folks know. So probably next year is we're gonna do more of these which is called product launches. So we run pretty neat ads, but typically only for existing clients. It works very well. So we're gonna go back and really just talk a little more about these a la carte services. Even LSA, we've been local services ads. We've been purposely very quiet about it because it came up 2 years ago. And we always did that for trades, right? Our flooring, window, and door clients. It worked very well. So when it came out available for funeral homes, we kept it pretty darn quiet because I don't want to find out. But now everyone knows. So it's like, okay, then we should probably really let everyone know. There's a lot of things like, hey, we kept it in the dark. So yes. That's like, okay, next year, if we're needing to get to that 100 to 125 call firm, these a la carte services will do well for them. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I find when you have several product offerings, it's you have to. It takes years to even to communicate to your existing client base what you have, right? You just have to keep telling them over and over and over again. So we do the same thing. It's like you'll be at a show and maybe it doesn't seem like you got a ton of new stuff, but customers are still learning new stuff. And then you do next year, you do a bunch of product launches and then take another year or two just to communicate.
Exactly.
So was there anything at the NFDA that like any sort of like new learning, like where you're like, hey, there's because, any, I don't know if like a theme or a new product launch or anything that was kind of jumped out to you?
Not really. Yeah. Again, I didn't get to walk around as much as I should. Yeah, but I didn't see anything outrageously like innovative. Yeah, outrageously innovative.
Yeah, same. I think I didn't get back there, but the mushroom casket was like maybe the only thing that I saw.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
And our client does the terramation. We saw their unit. Yeah, but it's more just green stuff. Yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah, and the terramation. So they actually had the pods there, was my understanding, right?
Yeah.
And that was I think that was their first time, maybe at the NFDA.
I think they were at ICCFA, but
Okay.
yeah, I think probably first year at NFDA, most likely.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Cool. Cool.
pretty
I think
interesting.
that's a fascinating. Yeah.
It's still fascinating. It's like the soil there and the soil. I'm like, okay, it's still a little bit. They're like, hey, I'm like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be rude, but I don't want to touch it.
Yeah, it would be a little weird, right? It would be a little weird to, yeah, knowing that. I'm sure. I mean, that's whatever all dirt is. I'm sure, right? But we don't know the history of it. Um, Welton, thanks. I really appreciate you joining me. With PodCasket, as you know, it's just we're trying to tell the stories of the legends of death care, and in most cases, when I've got someone on here, I don't, I feel like that person needs no introduction, just like you. I feel like everybody knows who you are, but I will read a little bit of a bio on
Sure,
you here, just because I've found that is a good way to kick it off, so we don't forget some stuff.
sure,
But so Welton, you're the founder of Ring Ring Marketing, the leading expert in helping funeral homes convert leads from online directories to the phone line. He's the author of the book Making Your Phone Ring with Internet Marketing for Funeral Homes, and a regular contributor to the American Funeral Director magazine and several other publications. Welton has a graduate degree in electrical engineering from the University of Colorado at Boulder. And prior to starting Ring Ring Marketing, he was a senior technologist at R&D facilities for Intel, Sun Microsystems, and Oracle. That's new to me. I didn't know that. And then he regularly speaks at conferences and other events for people in the death care industry. And that's why I say I don't think you really need much of an introduction, because I think everyone in the space at this point has seen you present. And if I would just like kind of give a little bit of a comment on that, one thing I've really appreciated in the 2 or 3 times I've seen you present is I feel like you give really practical training, and I always appreciate that. I think you're backing it all up with data, but the fact that you'll show funeral homes right there what few things they can do right when they get home.
right,
Like, I mean, I can remember a few things you always talk about. It's like make sure you're 24/7 right on your Google
right,
business listing,
right.
and just the different training. I think that's really really valuable. So,
Thank you.
um, but I think what we all don't know is like, tell me about like kind of where were you born, and like tell us about your family. Get right from the beginning. Where did this all start?
Yeah, born in Taiwan, Taipei, Taiwan, and our family immigrated to the States around 1985. And I was, I think, first grade, so I was very young. And then my dad travels back and forth between Taiwan and the States because he still had a chemical company back in Taiwan. So it's like, hey, he's afraid I'm gonna lose my Chinese. So every time he goes back, half of the year I study Chinese, and half the year I study right, English here in the States, and like I you don't get both well enough. So yeah, by the time I was sixth grade, then my dad's okay. At least you have a little bit Chinese knowledge. Then okay, it's time for you to stay in the States full time. But we couldn't get our green card in time, so we ended up moving up to Canada. So yeah, I was there from sixth grade through high school, and I was about to go to University of British Columbia. And luckily, last minute we got our green card, and then
Cool.
and it's very late. Like I still remember, it's like late June, July, and it's very hard to get into U.S. schools. Like there's not that many schools that does like very late admissions, and Boulder wasn't one. So it's like, okay, that's probably the only choice I have. That's why I ended up being in Boulder for undergrad and grad. Yeah,
That's awesome. When you guys came to the States, where did you live?
yeah. We lived in L.A. Yeah,
Hmm.
it's back then. It's L.A. Um, in Arcadia. That's where most Asians, Chinese, and yeah, moving to.
Yeah, yeah. I've been there. I've been there. There's even some Asian funeral homes right in
Yeah,
that area. So L.A. And do you have siblings?
yeah. My oddly, my brother, older brother, moved back to Taiwan um, after school to take over my dad's chemical company, and then so the hunch is supposedly all three of us, or I have older sister, older brother. We're all supposed to go back, right? That's kind of the plan my dad had. So my older brother studied chemistry, I studied chemical engineering, and my older sister, studied business. So we're all supposed to go back. I'm the first one to say no because I studied first year, second year, I studied chemical engineering. I'm like, I hate this. Like, bunch of formulas, bunch of symbols you have to memorize. I'm like, that's not me. So I told my dad, and my dad's like, okay, that's fine. So I end up studying chemical engineering. Electrical. It's much more fun, a lot more experiments I can run. It just came natural to me. Yeah. So yeah, my older sister, she's still in LA. My older brother went back to Taiwan. Yeah.
And what is the chemical company that your dad had? What
Yeah.
does it do?
Yeah, so back then, this way back in 70s, 80s, and 90s, predominantly it's those for plastics, chemical for plastics, and also chemical to make um, like dyes for leather dyes. Yeah, so my dad worked very closely with um, a company out in Spain. So Spain, they do a lot of right dyes, a lot of leather. So he brought those technologies back to Taiwan. So they do a lot of dyes for leathers and things like that. Yeah.
Hmm. And where are your parents today?
Yeah, my dad unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. They all moved back to
Oh, dang.
Taiwan. There's free healthcare.
Hmm.
And my mom, she travels back and forth, yeah, between Taiwan and LA. Most of my um, uncles, aunts are all still out in LA, so she had a lot more fun stuff to do out there rather than here in Vegas.
Yeah. And so your brother's running the chemical company over there still then now?
Then nope, he
Yeah.
hated it.
Yeah.
Working for my dad, so he ended up working. He started doing. He studied quite a bit of chemistry, so he ended up working for TSMC. So that's the largest semiconductor company these days, right?
Oh,
They make
cool.
all the Apple chips, all those. Yeah, so yeah, he got pretty lucky working for TSMC for a long time. So he's pretty high up there. Yeah,
Mhm.
and now I think they have a factory out in Arizona as well. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Right. Yeah.
So what when you were growing up, what are some like hobbies and things that you and your siblings got into?
Yeah. I played oddly. I played a lot of baseball.
Oh, wow.
Baseball and basketball, but I'm yeah. Both of those I don't participate much at all. Uh, and then growing up, again, yeah, we're Asians, so unfortunately, my mom's like just study, study
Hmm.
like
Yeah.
24/7. You're not supposed to do any sports. You're not supposed to be distracted anything from schoolwork. So I didn't pick up anything like much hobbies at all. I remember like getting basketball cards. I will sneak out of my right when my mom's out and about. I'll ride my bicycles to go to the supermarket and buy those basketball cards. And but, yeah, so I grew up pretty nerdy and geeky, unfortunately.
That's awesome. That was paid off really well for you. So what about so your time then? So you went where at in Canada did you guys go?
Yeah, we went up to Vancouver,
Okay,
Canada.
British
Yeah,
Columbia.
yeah,
Beautiful up
beautiful,
there. Wow. Yeah.
beautiful. Yeah, my parents regretted selling their homes because it's so expensive to live out there now. Yeah, super
Yeah.
expensive. Yeah, beautiful.
It's an awesome place. So then you when you left University of Colorado, you were so R&D with Intel, Sun Microsystems, and Oracle. So at this point, did you end
Right.
up in the Bay Area, or what
Yeah,
happened there?
so pretty strange. So my first job working for Intel was down in Albuquerque, Rio Rancho.
Whoa.
Right. So they have a very large manufacturing plant. They make all the Intel chips, memory chips out there. So I was actually hired to go to that manufacturing plant. But 6, 7 months in, they're like, hey, they need somebody to be out in R&D facilities out in Silicon Valley in Santa Clara. And why don't you go there? And they pay all my expenses. Gave me like nice, very nice apartment and rent a car for a kid, right? Who just graduated from not too long from grad school. It's like, wow, that's a dream. They pay
Hmm.
everything. It's kind of fun. You get to participate in the whole R&D cycle, right, from very beginning to the end. Then you brought that pension chip back to mass production. So then I was able to carry that product back to Albuquerque, helped them ramp up for manufacturing. Then I went back out to, to Santa Clara again. I did that 3 times cycle. And the last one I was on, it never ended up being back in Albuquerque. I actually went to Israel to
Oh,
to the
wow.
to do the transfer. That was super fun. Stayed there for
Yeah.
2 months, helped them with the transfer, get them ramped up. That was super amazing.
That's so
Right.
cool. And what time would this have been? Like late 90s, early 2000s?
This would be 2006. Yeah, I was there in
2006.
right. Yeah, it's pretty exciting to. Yeah, I still vividly remembered once I checked in with the plant out in Israel. The first thing they showed me is where the bunkers are. It's like
Yeah.
here's the bunkers. Like if something happens, like go to the edges of the building, and they walk you. It's like okay, just stay there.
Wow. And did that ever happen in the 2 months you were
No,
there? Was there
luckily
ever a
no.
time? Okay.
Luckily no.
Wow. That is wild. And there are these chips. So these were like, what kind of chips were you guys producing with Intel? I mean, these
So
like the
we were
CPUs.
yeah the CPUs. I worked on both memory chips, and then also CPUs. Right, your Intel yeah CPUs. Those were fun. Yeah, it's like and learned a lot from R&D. That's why over here again, just right at Ring Ring, I carried over a lot of stuff I learned. One is in R&D. During R&D, it's like it's very different than mass production, right? That's all about scaling. So
Hmm.
even when I'm leading my own team right now, we have a separate R&D department where they're allowed to break things, right?
Hmm.
But even that, as you're breaking things, you still got to make sure it's still controlled, right? Like I run a lot of experiments, right? How to run Three Sigma experiments, stuff like that, right? But before you introduce it to production, even within there, you got to run pilots, right? Hey, what is an experiment with this pilot before you introduce it to actual production? So I was able to carry that forward even within Ring Ring. So that it's kind of fun. Yeah. So we're constantly innovating, breaking things, but yet we don't want to touch whatever's working, right? So we do that
Yeah.
iteration all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. That's so cool. Um, all right, well, you're making, yeah, I got a bunch of questions in my head, but it's kind of, so then you
That's
went so how did you get from Intel to Sun Microsystems?
Yeah, so I got pretty bored. Again, it's pretty strange. Again, in the Silicon Valley, this is specifically Silicon Valley, it's like folks don't tend to stay in one company for a long time. It's just natural, right? You're
Hmm.
expected to move. If you don't move, you're actually like you're not as valuable, which is very
Hmm.
strange. Again, it's like the whole weird Silicon Valley thing. So I'm like, okay, I'm done with Intel. What's next? And then Sun Microsystems is literally a block away across the street. Literally. So I'm like, okay, that's. And then they work on supercomputer chips, right? Very large, right?
Hmm.
CPUs for like to power supercomputers for banks, for stock market, stuff like that. So it's not like that different, right, than what I used to do. And then so I worked at Sun Microsystems 2006, and they weren't doing well, right? Sun Micro, going back like before the dot com crash, it was doing outrageous well. The stocks were like outrageously good, right? And
Hmm.
everything came down. So when I went there, they're not in a good financial shape anymore. Um, and then they got gobbled up by Oracle.
Oh yeah.
That's why I started working for Oracle. But side note here, those two companies, Intel and Sun Microsystems, totally different culture. Like outrageous different.
Hmm.
Intel's like very like right, very process driven, very systematic. I learned a lot. That suits me a little bit more. And I once went to Sun Microsystems. The whole campus was built emulating like a Stanford campus. It's so beautiful. and so relaxing, water fountain everywhere. It's like really set up like a campus. And it's so, but it's very different. It's like they encourage you to be very creative. Like you can come and go anytime you want, right? They want you to just, and the whole culture is very, very different, very relaxed. They want you to have a lot of time to just sit there and wonder, right? Every Friday there's happy hour. They bring in alcohol, big parties on campus. It's so different than Intel, like totally different. It's just so fun to see that, but it drove me crazy in the first few months. Like it was like I cannot get stuff done. I'm like, let's go, and then they're like, oh, take it easy. So odd. Yeah.
And did the culture change with the acquisition by Oracle?
Oddly, Oracle didn't touch it much at all. It's so strange. Typically, Oracle is probably more similar to Intel in leadership, in management style, but they kept Sun Microsystems all alone, the whole campus all alone, because the whole campus, right? But eventually, Sun had two major campuses. The other one got sold to Facebook Meta. The one I say that, maintained, it's still part of Oracle. So it's fun. It really is. Yeah, I still, when I go back to the Bay Area, I'll still wander around the campus. Anyone can walk in there. It's so beautiful. Yeah.
Wow. And that's in Santa Clara, you said?
Yeah, in Santa Clara.
So
used
cool.
to be a psychiatric facility, the main building. That was in I think early 1900s. So it's very beautiful. The whole style built like a whole campus.
Wow, that's so awesome. So do you kind of stay up to date on like microchips and processors and stuff? Is that something you're still interested in?
Try to, yeah. Still one of my odd, weird, passion. But technology has changed so much, right? I used to be in the clean room, right, working on manufacturing of pension chips, stuff like that. And every 2 years, Moore's law, right, it just changes. The whole technology changes. And I left Oracle, let's see, 2014, late 2014. Yeah, so things have changed multiple times. It's so hard to keep up. It's like talking about keeping up with technology. Yeah, that's the one that's very, very hard to keep up.
Yeah. Is there, do you have any like, I don't know if the question's like, are you worries about like where it's headed? I mean, I look at that was it like a year ago or something. Google announced that Willow quantum computing chip. And I feel like it kind of hit the news and then kind of disappeared. And it made me wonder, like, people just not want to know about this yet because it's kind of scary, right? It's like there's no encryption that could stop
there's not.
Processor like that.
Yeah, but I always look at it. It's very strange coming from a tech guy. It's always for the guy. Again, technology will keep on changing. Folks will always figure it out. Again, following that Moore's law, or even better than that Moore's law, right? If you look at all these tech companies, especially in the manufacturing side, it's right. When I was at Intel, for example, I'm not working on the next processor. I'm actually working on the next, like the following one. So you're way ahead, right? You're trying to break things. So there's three teams. One that's very, very pathfinding. Then once that pathfinding team, then move on to the R&D team, and then down to the next team that does the actual scaling. So there's always looking way, way, way ahead. It's kind of fun. But it's.
Yeah, well, I think that's so fascinating too, because like when you see that with AI, where it's like, Google DeepMind was around long before these other ones, and then it felt like Google got left in the dust, and then all of a sudden Google's out ahead within it felt like a matter of months, right? So it's like there's just so much behind the scenes, like you're talking about, it's thinking about years in the future of what's coming next. It's really cool. So what got you from Oracle to like founding Ring? Did you have a job in between, or what was the process?
Yeah, so back in late 2009, I was trying to buy a house, and I couldn't afford anything. Again, Silicon Valley, even downturn, outrageously expensive still. So the only house I could afford was a foreclosure house. Pretty bad shape. Very, very bad shape. So I'm not handy at all. started going through, right, phone book. Back then, phone book still there, right? Started going online to look for contractors. The one I settled with, he was sharing with me that his business used to do outrage as well, just by advertising in print yellow pages in the 90s, well into mid 2000s. Starting around 2005, by being Silicon Valley, most of us already went online. So I started dabbling into different digital marketing companies to help him out. And they typically lock him down for a year and don't produce much results. And he kind of went with a very large, right? Back then, Reach Local was a very, very large entity, right? Down to smaller mom and pop operations, just didn't produce. So by the time I met him, it's like he just totally gave up. I'm like, I just bought my house. I don't have much money to do major remodeling projects. Why don't we go old school? That's barter here, right? I'll pay for all the tools, right? The actual stuff that you need. That's trade here. And I didn't came from right digital marketing background, but right learning Google Ads, learning websites, right. That's like very low tech. So I was able to pick it up pretty darn fast. Hit the bugs, right? YouTube, I just kind of learned it pretty fast, and I was able to show him measurable progress in about 4 month mark, and that was super fun. Again, I love high tech, but it's very different. I get to work with somebody one on one, and really see them growing, and it's like, maybe this might be my real passion is really to be able to help small business owners out. So what I decided to do, again, I still have a day job, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this will be fun. Just have a few supplemental income, right? It's nice if I can get it, right? Even just $1,000, that's a lot of money back then. It's like, wow, if I can just get a couple of grand. I remember going back with my wife, it's like, it'd be so darn nice if we can have some free, like, play money. So what we did is we started flipping through the yellow pages at night and figured out who are still heavily advertising in print phone book, yellow pages. For example, if the half page and above, that size is still at least $3,000. That money easily could be shifted online. So what we did, I learned a lot of direct response marketing. So my wife and I, in the evenings, we all still have our day jobs. We flip through yellow pages. It's a plumber in San Jose, right? So what we end up doing is go on Google, type in plumbers in San Jose. If they're not listed, if they're not showing up on first page of Google, we print out a screenshot. And then we put a big red marker on there. Where are you? Everything's handwritten. We handwrite the envelope, right? Put a real stamp on there, mail it out, right?
Wow.
So that's all we did at night. Right? And so naturally, we started getting businesses that's mainly in home improvement. We got roofing companies, plumbers like Roto-Rooter, right? Windows and doors. So that was fun. So we started picking up clients and we fulfill it in the evenings. And my wife won't let me quit at all until we hit a revenue range that's comfortable. And then I could, right, quit. So we didn't get to that revenue range until end of 2014. Then finally my wife's like, okay, now you can quit your day job. And I still remember reaching out to my brother-in-law. It's like, it's scary. It's very scary. It's like, I have a cushioned job, like very, very cushioned job. And hey, should I quit or not? It's like, he's like, you'll not look back. Just quit. So that's when we're able to start focusing a lot on Ring Ring. In the beginning, we only focus on working with window and door dealers. We just scaled up nationwide, right? We didn't know what works, what doesn't work. And we got pretty lucky, got picked up by manufacturers, and they started referring their clients over to us. They invited us to speak. And then second vertical we got into is window covering. So we work with like Hunter Douglas dealers. They refer their dealers over to us. Then we're like, every 2 years, let's carve out under a niche, right? Within trades, because we already know how to fulfill. But one of our window and door client, their extended family also owned a funeral home. And it's always, the first thing I always say is no. Because like folks thought digital marketing, so you should be able to do all types of businesses, and it's always a no. But it's a pretty good client of ours. I'm like, okay, let's do it pro bono, just do it for fun, and not a real surprise, but our results actually work even better for funeral homes. And the main reason is the buying journey. Sorry for saying this, but the buying journey is outrageously short. Versus like windows and doors, I know the minute they started researching online until they actually buy, it's exactly 97 days. So we have to do a lot of nurturing, retargeting, all these things, right? Same thing we're not covering, but what funeral homes, imminent need, near need, it's pretty much instant. So first of all, our results work better, but also that interaction with that funeral home, that funeral director, made me really admire the funeral profession. It's like, wow, there's still a profession out there that really care about the people they serve. Again, nothing wrong with the trades, right? But it's all like money, right? That's their motivation. So that's when we really started putting more time and focus on funeral homes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's so cool. So we got to back up a little bit because you mentioned your wife. Where did you meet her, and how long you been married and all that? You got to give us that background.
It's pretty funny. In Silicon Valley, again, it's going back to Silicon Valley. At the population there, majority are going to be males. It's probably 95% males and 5% females. So you can kind of see when there's a new girl in town, they're snatched right away, right? Yeah. Literally. Especially from Taiwan, there's like almost none. So my friend's like, hey, there's a new Taiwanese girl in town. Do you want to, let's all go up to dinner. So we all went up to dinner. And back then, remember, probably you're too young, there's MSN Messenger, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
MSN Messenger. So we started chatting on MSN Messenger, and then she already got taken. Literally within a few days. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. We stay as friends. She went through multiple boyfriends, and we always stay very, very close as friends. And then after 3 years, it's my turn.
Yeah.
But it's actually kind of nice because I got to know her very, very well as very, very close friends, right? And it's pretty strange. It's just so organically, hey, let's get married. We don't have any like weddings. We went to the city hall, but everything came very, very naturally, right? So,
yeah. Oh, that's so cool. And was she working in the technology world as well out there?
She does. Not really tech, but her company does manufacturing all the chassis for servers for like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's still tech, but not tech. She does more like project management.
Yeah. What year did you guys get married?
We married, 2011. Gosh, it's like, 14 years?
Yeah,
Jeez.
that's awesome.
Time went by.
Yeah, so 3 years later, you're out of Oracle. You're going full time into Ring, and then what took you to Vegas?
Yep. So very interesting. Yeah, it's like around 2015. Finally, hey, we're on our own. Ring is doing well. So we're like, okay, it's time we upgrade to a better neighborhood. Again, we don't have kids, but still, it'd be nice to at least upgrade to something a little bit better, right? And typically, it's a little better school district, just overall nicer, right? And every time we look at houses, this is like still 2015, still downturn. Those nicer neighborhoods, they're not like high end, right? Just nicer neighborhoods. They're about 2 million. Mm-hmm. Very, very expensive. And they're 1,300 square foot.
Wow.
right? So we're like, okay, if we wanted to, everyone has jumbo loan. They're not even simple jumbo loan. They're like jumbo to the jumbo loan. Right? So
yeah.
like, if we want to commit, then let's just start looking at houses. Let's get like jumbo loan. Every time we put in an offer, somebody always come in with a cash offer. Again, the Silicon Valley, right? There's always somebody, right? Their main intention is to tear down that house and build a mansion on top of it.
Wow.
We're like, it's very discouraging. It's like it's that amount of money, and yet you cannot get it. So that's one
Yeah.
reason. Second reason was more around the overall culture of Silicon Valley. Everyone want to flip something, right? My mentors in Silicon Valley, they are all like they went through angel fund, went through VCs, right? It's that whole startup culture in Silicon Valley, right? That HBO is real, right? That's Silicon Valley,
Yeah.
right? And our mentors all like went public, right? They all sold eventually. They're all like very, very successful folks. Every time I met with them, and even our friends, everyone's like looking for ideas. They want to use other people's money,
Mm-hmm.
and every time it's like, but also is they're building a company, they're borrowing other people's money, so there's really not a whole lot of skin in the game. Every time I met with them, it's like, hey, how come you're not borrowing other people's money, not using other people's money, right? You're stupid. I'm like, I just don't want to. But their purpose built the company to be flipped, to be sold. Very different, right? Very different.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to build something and really just build it. I'm not good at starting things. I'm better at actually running things. So that we started drifting apart, right? That overall Silicon Valley is you don't want to flip stocks, you want to flip houses. Everyone want to just flip something and get rich fast. So I'm like, this is not the culture I want. And so we started looking at, hey, is there other state that has right no state income tax? So that's one driver, and obviously houses are much more affordable up here, and we love food, we love dining, so we don't gamble at all. We don't even touch anything to do with gambling at all. So yeah, that's why we moved out here. We love it out here. Summer's brutal, definitely
Yeah.
brutal. Other than that, it's not bad.
That's awesome. And how long you've been in Vegas now?
About since 2016. Yeah. Wow. 9 years.
Okay. So, oh,
Yeah.
yeah, wow.
Oh yeah. Scary.
I think you and I probably met for the first time around that time, 2016. Or I feel like it's maybe 2017. I remember I remember the first time I remember us talking anyway was at the NFDA in Boston,
Yeah.
which I think
Exactly.
might have been 2017. Was that your first entrance
That's
to
my
funeral
first.
service at that point?
Yeah. First convention that we exhibited at. Yeah. I think I started speaking at Case Boylston's event prior to that. But yeah, that Boston event was our first 10 by 10 tiny booth at the back corner.
Yeah. Well, you did a good job getting around the show because I remember you coming and talking to me and
Right.
introducing yourself. So yeah, you did a great job getting out and networking.
Thank you.
Oh, that's so awesome. So now, yeah, and I mean, you've grown a lot. So tell us about like Ring the company. How many people? Where are they
Yeah.
located? Are you all remote? Do you have an office? Tell us about all that.
Yeah. So we still have an office that nobody goes in. We actually went in for the first time last Monday.
Wow.
Because yeah, since COVID, we all worked from home. We used to staff up here in Vegas, and then since COVID, we started hiring from other states. And obviously, we have a team remotely out in the Philippines that does all the back end stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, so we're about 135 head count so far. Um, and that's really is what's required to fulfill, right? A lot of digital marketing agencies, they capped it pretty lean. But that lean model does not work because a lot of these things you just got to put real human beings behind it to actually fulfill. So that's why, unfortunately, we have a pretty high headcount, but thus, right, the overseas team, which is our full time employees, right, they work same time zone as us. uh, so yeah, not super great on their body, but they work the same time zone as us. They're part of our team. Just they're not here, right? Even here in the States, we all started hiring from other states as well, right? We got quite a bit of employees in Florida so they can support the East Coast clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so got to a point, yeah, so we're around 135 employees now. Yeah,
Wow.
pretty, yeah.
That's awesome. And what's the split of like customer base that are
Mhm.
still in like home improvement versus funeral
Yeah.
homes?
Yeah, so I would say probably these days 10 to 15% are home improvement. Um, and majority of our clients are still death care. When I say death care, it's funeral homes and cemeteries. The last 2 years, we tried to add on, really trying to get into that continuum of care, because we knew that the last 2 years, when Tim Fish was still here with us, that was 3 years ago. We started doing a little more strategic planning a little bit further, and we know that the pulled forward effect is going to substantially impact us because marketing is always first thing to get cut. So, like, okay, knowing this, how can we continue to grow? And it's time we add on other verticals. That's still not too far away from death care. So we started looking at hospices, assisted living, home care, that whole continuum of care. And the thought is that this whole continuum of care, they should be working with each other, right? If you look at home care, assisted living, nursing home, hospices, they actually do work very, very closely together. They do. It just somehow post that they don't like. It's very, very disjointed between death care and that overall continuum of care. So it's all like, okay, it'll be darn nice if somehow they can all work together. So for example, we have clients out in Chicago. We got right home care. We got hospices. So I was able to host a small dinner to have them talk to our funeral home clients. Now they're all working together, and that's what I want to see. It's right. It's every time I say, hey, you guys should be working together. They're like, yes, but they don't. They're lazy out there in networking. So I'm like, okay, let me help you out. So that's kind of my passion these days, is to add on these continuum care and really have them talk to our funeral home clients.
Mm-hmm. No, that's really cool. How do you? What I'm sure you're thinking a lot about this, but what? How does your business, do you think, need to evolve, and product offerings need to be probably added to adjust for AI chatbot search? I'm sure you're thinking a lot about that.
A lot. It's just interesting. Again, it's not new to us because every time Google changes the algorithm, we have to pivot, right? So that's why our type of business, it's very hard to really systemize. Every time internally, we call this process record, right? Again, learning from Intel days, we got a lot of documentations, process record. Once you log it in, right, and it might run pretty okay for the next, let's say, 2 weeks or 2 months or 3 months until Google changes. There's always something new, right? Then we have to run a pilot and then change the process record. So this is not foreign to us, this type of cycle.
Yeah.
We have to constantly adapt. But with AI, obviously now we have to adapt even faster. And I love it. I really, seriously love it. How I look at AI is it's not here to replace people. It's here to replace people that don't know how to use it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so to answer the question, we had to pivot a lot. And I'm seriously loving it a lot. I'm learning a lot of things, applications, right, how to use it, and how our clients can use it to help them systemize their business, their marketing. Right? Even with ChatGPT these days, so hard, so easy to create content. Right? If you don't know how to use it, you gotta learn it. It's not hard to play with that, right? It's not rocket science at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And are there, similar to like when you're out presenting and giving practical training to the market, are there any kind of like basics that you would share with a customer to say, like, if you're doing these things that will help you for someone that searches? Because if somebody says funeral home near me in AI, are there any basics you would share?
Right. Yeah. So there's a couple of things I've been teaching quite a bit. First of all is teaching funeral homes how to actually use ChatGPT. There's a lot of fear on how to use it. So this is typically what I kind of teach them, is actually showing them how to prompt it. But their fear is always, hey, is the output going to be more or less the same as another funeral home down the street? If everyone's using more or less the same. So this is what I just kind of call it kind of the secret formula, which is not secret at all, right? But there's really two things that the funeral home got to have. First of all is you got to create what we just call a knowledge file. A knowledge file that is blessed by the owner. Basically, that knowledge file is, hey, who we are, what we do, how are we different, everything down to everything, history of the funeral home, everything, right? This is our ideal clientele, right? This is what we do, for example. This is how we're different. That file is very, very critical. So that way, anytime you're writing content, any type of content, even down to email, for example, you reference that file, you upload that file. If you don't know how to use GPT, but I'm trying to layman terms, right? This file is ongoing updated, but it's blessed by the funeral home. Anytime your team uses ChatGPT, they reference that file. So when it's creating content, it's specifically just for your funeral home, right? It knows where you are, how you're different, right? So the content will not be vanilla. That's always one concern. Is our content going to be vanilla, right?
Yeah.
Second is the overall, every funeral home, even including us, like my communication style, my tone is going to be very different to Kills. You guys are fun, right? We're not fun, right?
That's not true.
Right? But you guys, like, everyone's culture is a little bit different. I still kind of emulate those days when I worked at Intel. Everything's more formal. For example, my employees, my team, they're getting younger and younger these days. When they communicate with clients, it drives me crazy. It feels like they are texting their friend. I'm like, they're not your friend. Can you write a formal email? I would rather be more formal than not, right? So we have for example, we have a general guidelines, right, that we upload on the ChatGPT. So that way, this is a overall communication style that's blessed by Ring Ring, right? So those are kind of things we're trying to teach our funeral home clients how to leverage ChatGPT, right? You got to learn how to. Again, it's not hard, but always is what I see is they just use it, but the knowledge file is very critical. You don't have to do it once. That way, that content is specifically meant for your firm, right? If you're even writing a marketing guide, doing social media posting, right? It's not rocket science. As long as you reference that knowledge file, the content will specifically just for you, right?
And is that knowledge file, is that like the llms.txt file that goes on the website, or is that something different?
It's a little bit different. That one is just a Word document that you just drag and drop into, right? Yeah, if they don't know how to use, I'm trying to layman down terms. Yeah, obviously, ideally, they know how to create a GPT just for that, right? But yeah, to me, it's like simple. Just create a Word document, right? That's shareable, and one just drag and drop, put it in there anytime they want to, right?
Okay, so
write content. Cool. Yeah.
Awesome. What about on the search side? Like, because we've seen that it seems like a lot of the stuff, the basics of, having your Google business listing and having like good reviews and everything matters to the GPTs. Are you seeing that as well?
Definitely. Yeah. So this is how I look at all these AI tools, whether it's Gemini, right, ChatGPT, any of these. How I'm picturing this mindset is okay. What AI does is just replicate my own behavior. If I'm looking for a funeral home, what would I do? Okay, I'm going to go on doing search. I'm going to look at multiple websites to try to decipher, okay, should I call, right, how is this funeral home A different than funeral home B, different than funeral C? Then subsequently, I'm going to check out their reviews. At the same time, I'm going to check are they real or not. So again, all these things are what we used to do as, right, even now, if we don't use ChatGPT, that's probably the process we'll go through. So what these AI tools does is just trying to emulate that, right? So you can see, even if you go on ChatGPT, hey, what are some of the best funeral homes in Las Vegas that does this and that? You can see it's doing, right? It shows you exactly the process.
Yeah, it's doing the search.
Right? So it's going on websites and looking at the content. So it's pertaining to the content on the website. So basically, there's still overall thing. I'll just talk about two things. First of all, you got to get more reviews. Again, if you don't have enough reviews, you're gonna lose. AI looks at that even more heavily than Google does, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially ChatGPT. Okay, so that's a given. We all know you gotta get more reviews. But your old school, I still call this old school SEO, search engine optimization practices, those all still stand. Those for sure, right? Content on your website, all those relevant content. It's just there's a little bit slightly different twist to it. The content on our website, there's two things I would love make sure you guys do this. First of all, the about us page, you got to have really, really clear why us. Because we know AI is looking at this. When it's coming indexing your site, right, live, it's looking to figure out why you. So you got to, within your about us page, typically, of course, you got to have who you are, what you do, how you're different, but you got to make sure really spell why you are different, right? Google, I'm sorry, all these AI tools, they pick it up right away. This is how they know how you're different, right? Second is when you're writing content, these days, we used to write a lot more longer form content. But these days, we try to chunk it down a little bit more so it's a little more um, easily absorbed by these AI tools, but also more in that format of FAQ, right? Typically, it's that FAQ format. Even writing longer form content, you still need a FAQ section, whether you're writing blogs or specifically a separate page on your site on FAQ. AI loves those. But all these old school SEO practices still do work, for sure. What we do know is there's one signal that's even more critical than ever. It's called citations. Citations is citing, right, that indeed you're physically operating out of this location. So that used to be a signal that Google looks at to get you ranked in the map listings, the Google local businesses listing. So that's one major signal Google looks at. But same thing, if you really start researching on ChatGPT, you'll start to see, oh wow, it's looking at BBB, right? It's citing those sources. So we got further confirmation, wow, these citations, these directories are heavily used by AI. But this is the reality, Curtis. Whoever is saying that, I'll say at this current moment, whoever is saying they know GEO, General Engine Optimization, they're charging a separate service specifically on GEO, I will walk away. Because nobody knows, it's a moving target still,
Yeah.
right? Still Wild Wild West. Whoever says, hey, they're the expert on GEO, they're charging you, again, even we, like, to our clients, hey, this is just part of the SEO service, right? We're trying to make sure to do our best ability. We're learning as we go, right? We're constantly adjusting, so that way you show up on both Google and these AI. But Google's not going away. We all know that, Curtis, right? Folks are freaking out. Hey, is Google going to be phased out? As you kind of alluded to in the beginning, it's like Google was late to the game. And there's reason it's late to the game. It's very, very deliberately done. It doesn't want to touch its cash cow, which is 79% of Google's revenue come from those Google ads, right? You can see that overview took at least a year to really start showing up more frequently. It's always there at least a year or a year and a half ago. Slowly just tell me, hey, this is there, this might what it looks like. And slowly now you're seeing more AI overview showing up, right? It knows how to do that, but it just doesn't want to, right, kill its cash cow, right? But even this day, that AI overview, again, I just keep on saying it's a moving target. Even AI overview right now, it doesn't show up much at all for truly locally based searches still.
Yeah.
Right? So again, who knows how it's going to evolve, but Google is still, I will say so far, Google is still king so far. So for our clients that's freaking out, here's like, hey, should they jump on the bandwagon? It's like Google is still majority of your traffic. And yes, eventually I'm loving it if ChatGPT comes out that's on your channel. We're looking for multiple channels. I'm loving this. If the next one, whoever cloud, again, doesn't matter to me. I'm a media buyer. The more places we can get traffic for Funeral Home, the better it is. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool. No, thanks. Yeah, thanks for sharing all that too. Um,
It's
you got
fun.
me.
It really is fun. It's constant moving target.
Yeah, and I think because all of us we use this stuff day to day, and I think when you're talking about that AI overview, I think the companies that are probably suffering most because of that are like more how tos, right? Because
Exactly.
like if you think of like WebMD, like where
Right.
you would say, I feel like this, what should I do? And it can
Right.
give you an
Exactly.
overview right there. Well, now you're not going to click anymore. But to your point,
No.
local businesses, it's really different. So it's
Right.
probably the change is probably further down the road or later once that starts to have an effect. But I think you're making a really good point there is that the chat bots will probably have to change to be able to handle that. And
Right.
at that point, that's going to be another
Yeah.
channel for you. So
Right.
it's
Yeah,
really
it's gonna
cool.
change, right? For sure, there's new browser coming up from ChatGPT, OpenAI. Again, that's I'm loving it. Every time I see like, yes, more channels. Because Google, to be honest, right, I'm not loving a whole lot because it's too dominant. It's
Yeah.
controlling all the pricing, all the traffic. That's not good. That's definitely not
Yeah.
good. So every time I'm like, yes, another channel, another channel. That's
Well, it drives
awesome.
the price way up, right? When they own the market, they can charge whatever they want. Where if there are 5 or 6 channels that are getting kind of equal traffic, now it's more competitive and the prices should
I
come
love
down.
it. Right? Folks are freaking out. No, yes, I'm loving it. And who knows? We
Yeah.
already know ChatGPT eventually they're gonna have ads as well. They just hired a team, right, for specifically focus on ad platform. So
Hmm.
ChatGPT, if they end up having ads, yes, right?
Yeah.
So there's more channels. I'm loving this.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Not and honestly, that's a really great message to get out to the market. If those that are nervous about this say like, no, like like this is presenting new opportunities.
Oh
So
yeah.
okay. No, this has been awesome, Welton. Man, hearing your story is so cool. I'm glad. I mean, all these years we've known each other, and to hear all this background has been really awesome. Um, couple other questions for you. Just one, like in terms of like the market we're both in here with death care. Like, where do you hope to see it go? Expect to see like what big changes do you expect to see over the next like 5 to 10 years, or hope to see?
Right. Yeah. From a overall business point of view, I do personally. There's a few things that's positive, but also negative. Right. That's headwind. So first is I am pretty confident in saying now more or less the pulled forward effect is more or less behind us, right? So hopefully going into this winter, things are starting to go back to normal. Plus, right, the baby boomers are not yet fully, but starting to contribute, right? So I'll say end of this decade is when things should really, really take off. So that's definitely huge, right? Plus for this profession. But of course, what I do worry, it's like everyone else does, is cremation's on the rise. That's just reality, right? If you look at your overall revenue per call, what just keeps on, it's gonna keep going down. That's reality, right?
Hmm.
And those whoever are able to cope with better averages, right? Having services tied to it, right? So, for example, I grew up in Asia. It's you get cremation. There's no such thing as direct cremation. You are expected to have a service, and that cremated remains do not go home. It does not go home, right? It's probably placed somewhere else. So that journey is really what I hope to see more here. And so again, nothing wrong with direct cremation, but again, right, that might be right. The change going forward is more people tend to opt in for direct cremation, but a lot of those direct cremation, they're getting brought home. But even many of them do have services. It's the services are done right at a golf course at a nicer venue, right? So that's
Hmm.
really is my yeah, my fear is the funeral homes that's not willing to adapt, not just to technology, right? It's like really focusing more on having more services. And it's like, oh, I only want right this type of clientele. Unfortunately, and you're gonna get more shoppers. That's another big thing. I can bet you most calls that's coming in these days, they feel like a shopping call. that's going to be reality because they're starting to research more or less coming from the internet. So when they call, they're going to ask a lot of, like, to you, it's stupid questions. In reality, it's not stupid because they never experienced this before, right? Yeah, so it's definitely those are the headwinds I see. Yeah, they gotta really crack the code on phone conversions as well.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a great point. And just, yeah, I'd like to try to shift the expectation with cremated remains that they don't go home, right? That's
No,
becoming a huge problem. And I'm looking forward to, they're holding that America's Got Ashes thing that ICCFA this coming year, which will be really cool. I hope to
oh yeah,
see, just to see what ideas people come up with to how to help change that. That's going to be great. Okay, so last question for you, and appreciate all the time you've taken with me today. Last question is: you're a foodie, and you eat at all the best restaurants around the world. But my question is, like, what's your favorite fast food restaurant?
oh okay. So this is very strange. And my wife knows this. Whenever I'm on a business trip by myself, it's always Taco Bell.
I
That's my
love that.
treat. I'll pick Taco Bell over any of the nicer high-end restaurant. Again, it's been eating that since literally right. Freshman school, right? Like late nights is always Taco Bell. And I
Yeah.
don't. That's a treat because I don't get to eat much Taco Bells at all.
I love that you said that because I feel the same way. I love Taco Bell. I have since I was a little kid, and like now that you say it, I'm going to want it for lunch today. But like when we're at home at night and we haven't made anything to eat, and it's just like, hey, we need to get food fast. If I say, where should we go? My wife's answer is typically, I don't know, and then so I'll immediately say, then how about Taco Bell? And then all of a sudden she has another idea immediately because she doesn't want to eat at Taco Bell. So for me too, it's like, I take it when I can get it. But I
It's
love
a
that you
huge
said
treat for me.
What do you order? What's your staple?
Typically, they're chalupas, yeah,
Yeah.
or even they're super simple Supreme three tacos
Yeah. Yeah.
with a
No,
hot
that's
sauce.
great. That is awesome. So glad you said that. All right. Well, thanks again, man. I appreciate you.
Yep.
And anyone listening to PodCasket, we appreciate you listening and subscribe so you can be notified of all the new episodes that come out and hear the stories of these legends of death care. Thank you.
Thank you, Curtis.